So the cross is like this mysterious step of solving the 3 by 3, and anytime I try to explain it to a beginner to this puzzle, it's always the hardest. Probably because if you want to do the cross efficiently, all the moves are intuitive, and as you get better and better, people tell you you can solve any cross in 8 moves or less, and efficiency, good finger tricks, bad finger tricks, blah blah blah. In other words, there's no fixed way to teaching the cross. So that's what I'm going to attempt today. So we're going to talk about a few basic principles to solving the cross first, and then we'll do 3 example crosses. And hopefully with my knowledge about speed cubing, this will clear up some doubts. So the first main concept of solving the cross efficiently is actually not solving the cross piece by piece, as they will tell you in the beginner's method. So for example, in the beginner's method, they'll ask you to put in this blue edge in one move, and then find a way to align red to red, and put red in, and so on. However, this is extremely inefficient, as you've seen. So the correct way to solve a cross efficiently is actually to solve all the cross edges relatively correct with each other, and then just align the D layer at the end. Kind of like that for the remaining 2 edges, which will save you a lot of moves. So I'm just going to do a quick example illustrating the concept. These 2 edges, the green and the red-white edges, are technically not currently solved. However, they are solved relative to each other. If you glance at the color scheme, we notice that the green center is to the right of the red center. And same as this relationship between the edges. The green-white edge is to the right of the red-white edge, sorry. And even though they're not solved, they're relatively solved with each other. And we can see that concept by aligning these 2 pieces with D prime. The second concept is the difference between a good edge versus a bad edge. So a good edge can be inserted into the cross with one move. So for example, this orange and this red-white edge. And orange, we can just use L. This edge, we can just use R prime. However, the blue and the green-white edges need more than one move to be inserted. So for example, F, R prime to insert this edge. And what we need to do with bad edges is that we want to stack them on top of good edges or at the bottom, so that when we solve the good edges, we get to influence these 2 edges to become better edges. So let's just take a look at that. So this cross I would do like this. I will first stack blue on top of orange, so that when we solve orange like that, and we know the color scheme, blue is to the right of orange, these 2 will be relatively solved. And similarly, we're going to stack this green-white edge to the bottom of the red. And the color scheme, green is to the right of red, and when we solve red, this will displace this edge to a better location. We can just solve with B prime. So this cross will just look like this. And then that's all of them relative to each other, and we just align with D2. The third main concept is not moving the pieces, but instead moving the cross, or in other words, the replacement technique. So here we can see that green and red are solved relative to each other because the order of the centers. However, we know that orange and red should be opposite. So orange should be here and blue should be here. But instead of trying to do that to solve orange and then say like R2 to solve blue, we can actually use the replacement method. So let's just align these 2, and then we can put in blue to the left of red with R2, and then we can just do a D and then put in orange. So I'm gonna do that. That solves the blue relative to red, and instead of moving the piece, let's just move the cross so that this empty slot is ready for the orange edge, and we can just put the orange edge in and align the cross. So the fourth concept is finger tricks. I am not the best at this, and to be quite honest, but I'll cover the basics for the advanced cross. So when you first pick up the cube in a starting position, the best moves to do are going to be U and D, because you can just pick the cube up and do them, instead of F, where you have to kind of shift the grip of the cube in your hands. So I'd suggest when you're planning out your cross solution that you start with a cube oriented in a way that you can start with either a U or a D move. And we also want to avoid rotations at all costs, because rotating during the cross will cost you like zero 0.3, zero 0.2 of a second, while the cross can be done in like around 1.5 seconds depending on your skill level. So that's actually a huge difference. The last thing that I'll mention before heading on over to the examples is planning the cross, which you've heard in the last step. So this is the thing that distinguishes great cubers from average or even slow cubers: how far they can see into the solve before actually turning the puzzle. And you get up to 15 seconds of inspection time to do so before you must start turning. So how to plan the cross. This is kind of a weird concept to explain. You have to envision the moves in your head and imagine where the pieces will go afterwards. So say I want to solve this red edge to the left of green, which is the correct order. So I would imagine F, but then this piece is also affected by F. So this orange piece would now be here. So you have to do that a lot, and eventually you'll get the full cross. And some of you might be thinking that's kind of crazy to do in 15 seconds, but that's the limits and the potential of the human brain. It's kind of amazing, and the top-notch solvers can plan F2L pairs along. I'm working on my cross plus one inspection, which means planning out the cross and planning one pair in F2L. The top solvers can do 2, 3 pairs, sometimes even 4 pairs, and then just do ZB and finish. So this is by far the hardest thing on any cubing event. Guys, just a quick update. There's only going to be one example cross in this video, because otherwise this video would be like 16 minutes long, and I didn't want to do that. So yeah, I'll have 3 more examples in a separate video if you guys would like to see more. Just keep in mind, guys, that any of the concepts I talked about previously can be like a 4 or 5 minute video on their own. So I am trying to get through this as efficiently as possible. And if you were confused by any of the previous concepts, we'll do some examples and I'll walk you guys through them. So I'm going to put the scramble that I'm doing on the screen, and you can follow along. All right, so first thing I notice is that this red-white edge is a bad edge. However, it is already connected to a good edge, and in this case, it's at the bottom of it. So when we solve blue, we can actually influence this edge to become a better edge. The other 3 edges all seem to be great edges, and now we have to think about the color order. So we know that the cool colors, green and blue, are opposite of one another, and if we solve them right now, they already are, so they're already set up. However, this orange edge needs to be to the left of blue, so we can move this edge and over here with a U2. And then this red edge needs to be to the right of this blue center. And to solve these 2, we can just do R prime, B prime, R2. So the R prime will push this red edge out here, the B prime will solve it, but when we did R prime, this blue edge would now be up here, and we can do R2 to finish. So what I would do here, oh yeah, green just goes in with one move, is I would set up all the order first, and then do L prime, F2, solve these 2, and then we'll do the R prime, B prime, R2 to solve the cross edges, and there's no need for alignment here because we solved them all correctly corresponding with their centers. Guys, this step is very, very, very hard, and it's like my brain and fingers know how to do this, but what do I even say to you guys to make this very clear and explicit? I've been shooting for a while, and that was what I came up with. So hopefully it gets you started and into the world of advanced cross. Again, I am by no means very good at this, so please check out other YouTubers' channel for more information. One last thing, for the planning step, like in inspection, if you guys want, you guys can practice with your eyes closed at some point. This will force you to visualize how the pieces move. And yeah, please have a lot of patience with this process. And if you really want to get it down, there's a lot of practice involved. My cross is still horrific if you consider the advanced level. And I'm working on my cross plus one. So everyone is going somewhere, and we all want to be somewhere. But keep on practicing, and you'll get there. I'm certain of it.